Seattle mayor's office is reportedly demanding more control over the messaging from the city's police department and what it tells the public. That has reportedly led to some heated showdowns and a personnel change. So let's start there with tonight's lightning round with KTTH Seattle Talk Radio host Jason Rantz. Welcome back, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so what's the deal here? Explain. Is this that the mayor's office told the police department, you guys can't put out information without us approving it in advance?
Yeah, pretty much. So the mayor is brand new to this job. His name is Bruce Harrell. And since he took over, he's seen some, in his view, miscommunications or communication mishaps between the Seattle Police Department and his office where they haven't totally been on the same page. He's blaming the SPD, but to be honest, all of the issues that he's had has actually come from his office, not the SPD. Still, he's basically said, look, you need to put all your messaging through us before it goes out. And when the press officer for the SPD stepped up and said, well, big picture, we can do that, but there are cases like a public emergency in which we need to be able to put this out quickly. It's just not practical. And the next day, he was told he was being reassigned. It's involuntary. He doesn't want to do that. And now we're at a position where the mayor has more control and they risk using the SPD's comms team as basically another political arm for the mayor, which I think is a disservice.
Okay, interesting. Please keep us up to date on how that plays out. In the meantime, I want to go to Centralia. Am I saying that right? In Washington,
Yes,
Centralia County. Now, this is from King 5 News. They're quoting the police chief there, Stacey Denham. They say Centralia police chief frustrated that officers can't chase suspects. It says the state law prohibits law enforcement from getting involved in high-speed pursuits with anyone not suspected of drunk driving, violent or sexual crimes. They quote the chief saying, I think most officers probably in the state are very frustrated with this particular law. Said he blames an increase on car thefts and catalytic converter thefts on thieves, knowing that law enforcement will not chase them.
Exactly. Under the current law, you can literally just walk away from an officer, get into your car, and drive off. You don't even have to speed. And police officers, for the most part, are not allowed to pursue you. Now, this is a result of the police reimagining bills that the Democrats had pursued a couple years ago. And basically, Democrats are arguing that every single police chase is dangerous, which, of course, is wrong. They're not cops. They have no clue what they're talking about. And what it effectively has done is tell the criminals, hey, you do not ever have to fear any kind of chase. And so the cops are in a tough spot, and the criminals are very clearly taking advantage. That's why we've seen certain kinds of crime starting to surge, basically the ones where you're kind of in and out if you're going to do a robbery or you're just breaking into a car. That's an easy way just to drive off and know you're not going to be pursued.
And the carjacking situation in many cities across this country just absolutely, as you said, skyrocketing. Okay, so let's talk about New York City. Eric Adams there and dealing with crime. A headline from FoxNews.com. New York City Mayor Eric Adams promised to crush crime but is being thwarted by remnants of his predecessor. They're quoting an expert, Eli Silverman. He's a professor in criminal justice there in New York City. He says police have increasingly felt ignored, in some cases disrespected by their politicians, and also the backlash against police departments in general with these terrible incidents and the rise of Black Lives Matter has made police in general more cautious. So what do you make of that?
I think he's right. I mean, for the most part, Eric Adams is in a really tough spot because he campaigned on this idea that he was actually, as someone who's a former police officer, he knows what it's going to take to go ahead and tackle the crime. In part, the problem he's facing is it's correct that a lot of things that predated him made it so that it's nearly impossible to truly allow for policing in New York City. The other problem he has is I don't think he's been aggressive enough publicly in calling out the Democrats who are responsible for the policies that have been put in place that have made it so hard for cops. But also, it's not just the politicians, it's also judges who go easy on these criminals. And that's a situation we have where 42% increase in crime.
Yeah, if they end up back on the streets and have no deterrent to stop from their behavior, that creates a very dangerous situation for everyone. All right, Jason, it is always good to see you. Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Thanks, Shannon.